Okay, let's talk about Olivia Rodrigo. We're diving into the story behind one of the biggest tours on the planet right now, the Guts World Tour. I mean, she's basically the reigning 21-year-old pop-punk queen. But, and this is the interesting part, beyond all the sold-out arenas and the screaming fans, there's a whole other story. One about vulnerability, secrets, and what it actually means to be a superstar in today's world.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the triumph. Because to really get what's going on here, you have to understand the scale of her success. Seriously, the Guts Tour wasn't just a big tour. It was a full-blown global phenomenon.
So, let's start with the money. The tour grossed a staggering $200 million. Now, to put that in perspective for you, that's the kind of money that rivals some of the biggest, most established legacy acts out there. We're talking about a 21-year-old playing in the same league as music legends. It's just wow.
And how did she pull that off? By performing at over 150 sold-out shows all over the world. Just think about that schedule for a second. It's absolutely relentless. Crisscrossing continents, playing to these huge crowds night after night after night.
And her reach went way beyond just the concert arenas, right? Online, her massive hit Vampire sparked one of those TikTok dance challenges that just completely took over. We're talking over 1 billion views. So yeah, this wasn't just a tour, it was a total cultural takeover.
But not everything was as perfect as it seemed. You know, behind that flawless picture of success and total cultural dominance, a much more complicated and way more human story was unfolding behind the scenes.
And that brings us to the moment when the whole machine just ground to a halt. The unstoppable force that was the Guts Tour suddenly stopped.
The real bombshell dropped when, seemingly out of nowhere, 2 concerts were just canceled. And you can imagine, right? Fans were confused, they were disappointed, and everybody started speculating like crazy about what could have possibly happened.
Well, the reason, as Olivia later shared, wasn't some technical problem or a scheduling mix-up. Nope, it was something incredibly personal. She revealed she'd been suffering from these debilitating panic attacks, a private struggle that just became impossible to keep hidden anymore.
Okay, so this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Because instead of letting this crisis define the narrative, Olivia did something amazing. She flipped it and turned it into this incredibly powerful moment of connection with her fans.
She didn't try to make up some excuse, she just wrote this really direct, honest, open letter to her fans. And the message at the heart of it was simple, but so powerful. My mental health is a priority. It was basically her declaring that her own well-being had to come first, period.
And that one act of being vulnerable, it had this massive ripple effect. I mean, by being so open about it, she basically gave millions of her young fans permission to talk about their own struggles. And you see, this is part of a much bigger shift we're seeing, right? A whole new generation of stars is choosing real, raw authenticity over that old-school illusion of perfection.
But her being so open about her struggles wasn't the only surprise story happening during the tour. Turns out, there were a few other secrets hiding behind the icon.
So, while she's dealing with all the intense pressure of this massive world tour, she was also nurturing a new romance. Yeah, she and actor Louis Partridge, you probably know him from Enola Holmes, they were spotted finding these little private moments for themselves in Paris. You know, trying to get away from the spotlight.
And for Olivia, this isn't just some random piece of gossip. She's been super clear that these kinds of personal experiences are basically the fuel for her art. She literally says that love is one of the main things that pushes her to write those songs that we all end up screaming in our cars.
Her generosity is kind of fascinating too, because it has these 2 different sides. You've got the public generosity, right? Sharing her struggles with millions of us. But then there's the private kind. Get this, it came out that she secretly gave her entire tour crew a $1 million tip just to say thank you for all their hard work. That's incredible.
And it wasn't just about big, flashy gestures either. She brought her values into the smaller, everyday stuff too. Like, she completely transformed the Backstage catering to have all vegan menus for herself and the whole crew. It's a quiet change, but it says a lot about her personal commitments.
So, where does all of this leave us? When you put it all together, the insane success, the public vulnerability, the secret romance, the private generosity, what kind of icon does that even make? What are we looking at here?
Well, maybe the answer lies in her core philosophy. It's something she shared directly with her fans, and it's this. It's normal to be broken when you're young. This idea that being imperfect, that struggling, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's just a normal part of the ride. And this, I think, gets right to the heart of her stardom. Is she a global icon or just a regular young person trying to figure out a complicated life? Or is the answer that she's both? Maybe her real power isn't in being some perfect, untouchable pop star. Maybe it's in her ability to be both things at the exact same time. A global superstar selling out stadiums, and also a relatable person who's not afraid to say, hey, it's okay to be a little broken. Really makes you think, doesn't it?